They always say, your past can come back to bite you, especially if someone close enough knows your deepest secrets. And for Meghan Markle, that person is none other than Trevor Engelson, the Hollywood producer she once called her husband. Yes, long before she set her sights on Windsor Castle and slipped into royal gowns. Meghan was married to Trevor, and he didn't just walk away with heartbreak when their marriage collapsed. He walked away with stories. Stories of a Meghan the world has never truly seen. And one of those stories? Oh, it centers around a single night in 2016. A night so explosive, so dangerous, that it could have derailed Meghan's royal fairy tale before it even began. A night in Toronto that's been buried so deep there were no headlines, no police reports, no whispers in the tabloids. Nothing. Just silence. Until now. Because behind the polished Duchess image, Trevor claims there's another Meghan, the Meghan who knew exactly how to keep the party alive, long after the lights should have gone out, the Meghan who could make things appear and disappear, whatever people needed, whatever made the night unforgettable. And that night in Toronto? It wasn't just about love with Harry. Oh no, it was about something far more scandalous. Picture this. Toronto, 2016. Meghan Markle, on the cusp of transforming from TV actress to royal fiancé, was supposedly enjoying a secret rendezvous with Prince Harry. Harry had slipped out of palace eyes, flying in under the radar to see her. From the outside, it looked like romance, the kind of secret visit that makes a fairy tale sparkle. But insiders, they tell a very different story. Sources whisper that Meghan wasn't just spending time with Harry, she was allegedly organizing what the Toronto nightlife crowd called a run. And trust me, this wasn't just about dinner and a bottle of wine. A run meant indulgence, substances, late-night escapades, and stepping into a world Harry should have avoided at all costs. And here's where jaws really drop. A name was allegedly mentioned that shook everyone who heard it. Princess Eugenie. That's right, Harry's own cousin. Now, no one can confirm whether Eugenie even knew what was going on or if she was part of it. But just the fact her name came up, that was enough to send shockwaves. Imagine it. One wrong step, one leak to the press, and this wouldn't just have been about Meghan and Harry's romance. It could have embarrassed the entire royal family. Whispers say something went sideways that night. A close call. A brush with exposure so risky, so catastrophic that if it had made headlines, Meghan and Harry's love story would have ended before it ever really began. But why didn't it? Why was there nothing in the papers, nothing in police reports, no paparazzi snaps? Because the story was buried deep. Insiders swear that strings were pulled at lightning speed at the very highest levels. The palace couldn't afford this scandal. Harry's reputation was already fragile after Vegas, after the headlines of wild nights out. Meghan's image was still being polished, carefully constructed for a royal future. And Princess Eugenie's name? Way too close to the fire. A cover-up wasn't optional, it was mandatory. Think about it. A night that should have exploded into flashing lights, mugshots, and shame splashed across front pages. Erased overnight. And an eraser that powerful doesn't just happen. That kind of silence takes influence, money, and serious power moving quietly behind the scenes. And who was right in the middle of it all? Meghan Markle. Calm, composed, and if you believe the insiders, shockingly skilled at keeping the night alive while making sure it stayed hidden. But to understand just how Meghan could move so smoothly through nights like this, you've got to step into her Toronto life. You see, Toronto wasn't just where she filmed Suits, it was her playground, her double life. On one side, the polished actress with an Instagram full of motivational quotes and charity shoutouts. On the other side, a woman deeply embedded in Toronto's elite nightlife. And at the center of that world was Soho House. Forget stiff royal clubs or polite garden parties. Soho House was the playground for the rich, the reckless, and the powerful. Laughter and cocktails were the public face. But behind closed doors, insiders insist the real menu was much sharper. Cocaine, secrecy, indulgence, all arranged without questions. And Meghan, she wasn't just in the room. She was the connector, the trusted one, the woman people knew they could count on when the night needed fuel. Partygoers remember her not just as the girl with the pretty smile. No, she was the one who made the impossible possible. The one who knew exactly who wanted what, how much, and how to get it. Meghan wasn't just part of the scene. She made the scene. She was the reason it thrived. And once you know that, the whispers about Toronto in 2016 don't sound so far-fetched. Because this wasn't just a one-off moment, this was Meghan's world. The Meghan Trevor Engelson knew all too well. Before Toronto, before Harry, before the palace gates opened to her, there was Trevor Engelson, Meghan's first husband, the Hollywood producer who thought he was marrying a free-spirited, ambitious actress. Their love story should have been a fairy tale of its own, but Trevor got a front-row seat to the Meghan behind the mask. Let's rewind to Jamaica, 2011. Meghan and Trevor's wedding wasn't the dreamy tropical escape people might imagine. Guests don't remember the vows or the beachside romance. What they still talk about years later is Meghan sitting down and rolling over 100 joints for her wedding guests. 100. This wasn't some quirky bride stunt or a one-off laugh. This was an operation. Organized, intentional. Meghan made sure every guest had what they needed to keep the atmosphere buzzing. At the time, people laughed it off. They said it showed Meghan was fun, relaxed, the cool bride. But now, when you line that up with the Toronto years, the picture looks very different. It wasn't just fun, it was a pattern. Meghan wasn't just participating in these indulgent nights, she was the curator, the supplier, the one orchestrating the vibe, ensuring no one forgot the night because she had provided everything to make it unforgettable. Trevor? He saw it all up close. He didn't just marry Meghan, he married into her other world, the version of Meghan who knew exactly how to keep the party alive. And this version? It wasn't the Meghan the palace ever wanted anyone to see, because Meghan had a gift. She could live multiple lives at once. To her Hollywood friends, she was the hustling actress sprinting between auditions and networking parties. To her family back home, she was the polished daughter who sent holiday cards and played the role of good girl to Prince Harry. She was the confidant, the woman who understood him, who could soothe his insecurities and make him feel safe away from the suffocating palace life. But in Toronto, with her Soho house circle, Meghan was something else entirely. Loud, confident, fearless, unflinching, even when lines of powder were on the table. She wasn't just comfortable in that environment, she owned it. She had the keys, the connections, and the nerve to make nights stretch into forever. And that's where the brilliance comes in. Meghan didn't just survive by jumping between these worlds, she mastered it. She made sure none of the worlds overlapped. She revealed just enough of herself to each group so they felt they knew her, but never so much that one version exposed the other. It wasn't an accident, it was survival, it was strategy. And that's why the whispers about Toronto never really died. Because people knew they'd seen this Meghan before. They saw her roll 100 joints in Jamaica, they saw her move through Toronto like a queen of indulgence, and they saw how she could vanish the moment things got too risky. So when she met Prince Harry, she didn't have to pretend to be innocent. Harry already had a reputation, Vegas parties, wild photos, headlines, screaming scandal. He wasn't looking for someone to tame him, he was looking for someone who could keep up, maybe even someone who could lead. And Meghan, she gave him exactly that. Insiders claim she gave Harry the one thing he couldn't find behind palace walls: freedom. Freedom to indulge without scandal. Freedom to disappear into the shadows without fearing exposure. Meghan knew how to make indulgence look untouchable. For Harry, trapped under flashing cameras his whole life, that was intoxicating. Meghan didn't just stand by his side, she became essential. Think about it. She wasn't just his girlfriend. She was the woman who could see his darker side and not just accept it, but control it, manage it, make it feel safe. That kind of connection doesn't just happen overnight. It's strategic, it's deliberate, and for Harry, it felt like destiny. For Meghan, it was opportunity. Every legend leaves traces, and Meghan's, they weren't just in whispered stories or Trevor's memories. They were written on her very face. Look at the old photos. Back then, Meghan's features were softer, rounder cheeks, a nose that mirrored her mother's, familiar and unpolished. But as Meghan's star rose higher, her appearance shifted. Sharper lines, a narrower bridge, redrawn nostrils, the official explanation, cosmetic polish, the Hollywood standard. Nothing unusual for an actress preparing to step into the spotlight. But here's the thing about cracks, you can cover them, but they always resurface. And over time, Meghan's polished fairy tale began to show its seams. Take her interviews. In one, she swore she had never Googled Harry before meeting him. Yet in another, she rattled off details about his favorite things with a precision that sounded rehearsed. Which was it? Innocent ignorance or carefully studied research? She claimed she was isolated in the UK, cut off, trapped, stripped of freedom. Yet records show she was traveling, Italy, Amsterdam, New York, jetting around the world even as she told the public she was imprisoned. Then came Archie's birth. Meghan refused to release the full birth certificate, fueling endless speculation. Why so much secrecy? What was she hiding? Some even whispered about her real age, that her official birth year might not even be the truth. A small detail in Hollywood, sure, but in royalty, that's seismic. Even the palace itself began distancing from her carefully crafted narrative. Remember her royal biography? At first, it was glowing. Double major at Northwestern, fluent in multiple languages, a humanitarian decorated for her work. But quietly, ever so quietly, those claims disappeared. The website stripped away the fairy tale. What remained was just one line: Meghan Markle, actress from Suits. For the palace, an institution obsessed with detail, this wasn't an oversight. It was deliberate. A quiet rewriting of the story they once helped her sell to the world. And so the question lingers, who is Meghan Markle really? The Hollywood actress chasing fame? The Duchess wrapped in designer gowns, smiling for cameras? Or the strategist insiders describe? The supplier, the eraser, the master of reinvention who built her future mask by mask, nose by nose, circle by circle? Because the evidence is chilling. Meghan wasn't swept up by fate, she played the long game. She knew how to compartmentalize, how to manipulate narratives, how to bury inconvenient truths under shinier versions of herself. And that's why Meghan's story still grips us. For every polished charity speech, there's a whisper of what came before. For every glowing photo in the spotlight, there's a shadow just out of frame. Trevor's memory of her rolling 100 joints in Jamaica, the whispers of that buried Toronto night in 2016, the friends who vanished without explanation, the shifting stories, the shifting face. All of it points to one haunting truth. Meghan Markle didn't stumble into her legend. She built it, brick by brick, mask by mask. And if this is what's already leaked into the light, you have to wonder, what's still buried in the shadows waiting to be uncovered?